In continuation of last class, student, today our topic is third law of motion. First two law of Newton's first two law I taught you. First law of inertia said object resists change in state. Second law say the applied force proportional to the rate of change of momentum. So first law explain, first two law of motion tell us how an applied force change the motion and provide us with a method to determine the force. The third law of motion state that when one object exert a force on another object, the second object instantaneously exert a force back on the first. These two forces are always equal in magnitude but opposite in direction. And two forces are always equal in magnitude but opposite in direction. These forces act on different objects and never on the same object. Example, in the game of football, sometime we looking at the football and trying to kick it with a greater force, collide with a player of the opposite team. Both feel hurt because each apply a force to the other. In other words, there is a pair of force and not just one force. The two opposing forces are also known as action and reaction force. The two forces are always equal in magnitude but opposite in direction. So, the two opposing forces, the two opposing forces are also known as action and reaction force. So in simple term, to every action there is an equal and opposite reaction, and they act on two different body. In simple term में आप ऐसे भी बोल सकते हैं कि when one object exert a force on another object, so another object also exert a force first one, and every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. To state that in simple term, every action there is an equal and opposite reaction, and they act on two different bodies. An example, simple example, when a gun is fired, it exerts a forward force on the bullet. The bullet exerts an equal and opposite force on the gun. This results in the recoil of the gun. Recoil means अगर हम gun को fire करते हैं, so gun also feel a force, and because of that the gun recoil. Backward force of the gun is known as recoil. So the result in the recoil of the gun, since the gun has a much greater mass than the bullet, the acceleration of gun is much less than the acceleration of bullet. So third law of motion also applicable in firing of gun.